What's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to another show, man. College football talk with my guy here, Dave Cokin. Love doing shows with him, man. Really knowledgeable capper, college football capper, any college, man. But college basketball and college football. Dave Cokin from Wager Talk. Dave, how you doing, my brother?
Doing just fine. Looking forward to the weekend's action. And, of course, Monday, getting geared up for the start of college basketball.
Hmm. Can't wait. Can't wait. How did you do in college basketball last year, Dave? Let the people know.
Started off lousy, got better as the season went on. I'm probably going to be real low volume early this season. I like conference play better than the non-conference games, so
Right.
won't get a lot from me early on.
That makes perfect sense right there. And then you know what the teams are as well by the time of conference play as well. So it's a good point there, Dave. Good point. But hey, let's go ahead and talk about some college football here, right? That's what we're here for, man. Let's go ahead. We're not here to waste your time, people. First game up, man. It's Friday. We'll talk about a Friday night game here. We got the Washington Huskies laying 4.5 points versus Oregon State here, getting 4.5 at the house. Total sitting at 54 here, Dave. How are we looking at this game? How are we looking at
Uh,
this one?
well, if you're there, it better be under an umbrella
Oh, okay.
because it is going to be nasty, nasty
Mm,
weather. Wet with high winds, gusts up to 50 miles an hour. So naturally, the under money is showing, and I really can't disagree with that. And the Oregon State money is showing, and I really can't disagree with that. Uh, the team that's likely to be most affected by the conditions is Washington. So
right.
I guess I'll lean Oregon State. I'm not betting the game, but that would be my opinion.
That's a really good point right there. I was just about to say that. Doesn't Washington love to throw the ball a lot? So if they're a passing team, it's probably going to affect them a lot more. Oregon State likes, and they can play some really good defense. Well, I know Oregon State plays a little bit better at the house, but it's a good point there, Dave. I'd definitely be looking towards Oregon State in this one, plus the 4.5. Like I say, Washington started out real tough, real high, right? But now it seems like they kind of sort of
Yeah,
little faltering out or whatever. But
it's cooled off.
yeah, that's a good point there. It could definitely is there any you said was there wind as well or
Yes,
what? Do you know? Oh
substantial
shit.
wind.
Oh boy, that's not good. That's not good. There can then Washington, they don't really run the ball a ton, right? It's like a lot of pass heavy for the Huskies over there, right?
Well,
Dave.
they're probably going to have to tonight.
Right.
I
Yeah,
think
that
they're
makes
going to have
sense.
to tonight.
Yeah, Oregon State or nothing for me in that one, man. That's the only way that I'm looking at that one, my guys. But let's get over here to some Saturday games here, man. Hey, look, Dave might be talking me into putting some on Oregon State. They're definitely the better defensive team there. But let's go over here to the we're going to the streets of Arlington, Texas here, Dave. Now they said a Glove Life party. They playing it at the old baseball stadium over there, but this Army versus Air Force spot here, Dave. You liking anything here? I know Air Force got off to a real hot start of the season. They've somewhat faltered off as well. You think Air Force can cover this spread?
I
Dave.
would have to lean to the Army's side in this
Okay.
game. Air Force has turned not to be as good as early in the season. They've had some injury issues, uh,
Mhm.
and it's a big pride battle. So I would look at the Army side. I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point there. Yeah, I was leaning towards Air Force, but you do make some good points. Obviously, they really banged up team as well. Maybe that's why they kind of start to lose some games over there, man. But they do need a win as well. Air Force needs a win, my guys. I want to lean Air Force there minus the 7. Let's go over here to Missouri here. Missouri land 1 point versus Kentucky. They're off that big win versus South Carolina. We know that Kentucky had high hopes, got a real good quarterback over there, Dave. Now Missouri's defense has been really good. Can they bring that the defense over here versus Kentucky's offense?
Uh, I don't know how to read Kentucky coming out of that disaster last week against Tennessee. Mentally, that's going to be a tough one for them to recover. The better, so it's kind of a tough call. It's be strictly a guess for me on Missouri.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the Kentucky has lost 3 out of the last 4 games. Yeah, they got absolutely smoked by Tennessee, but everybody's getting smoked by Tennessee, in my opinion. So I'm kind of one to think maybe they bounce back off such a terrible game in that one, man. So lean Kentucky for me, and they'll win +1 in that one, my guys. They covered 3 of the last 4 versus Missouri as well. Won 5 out of the last 7 as well, my guys. Now, man, over at TCU, man, this team has been absolutely balling. One of the best teams in the nation so far this year. They hadn't really slowed up here. This could be some of the spot they could possibly get tripped up here. Laying 8.5 at the house versus the Texas Tech Red Raiders in this one. Dave, you like anything here? You think the Horned Frogs keep it going here?
I think this is a tricky spot for TCU. Look, they're obviously a very good football team, but they've had a lot of things go their way, including a front door cover last Virginia game. The week before that, Kansas State up 18 on them, and unfortunately, to some injuries. Good, but maybe not as good as advertised. Texas Tech off to worst game of the season, maybe getting a little undervalued here. I think the Red Raiders are going to give them a game, and I won't be shocked if Texas Tech pulls the outright upset.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I'm leaning Tech as well, coming off a bad game. Maybe they probably weren't looking ahead. They wanted to beat Baylor, but maybe it was a bad matchup for them. But yeah, TCU, they keep getting lucky as well. Got a couple games coming up versus Texas and Baylor as well. So I'm right there with you, man. Maybe I think Texas Tech can keep this one close. If not, it loses by 3 or 7 points. And I believe the market agrees with it as well, because this line's come down from 10 to 8.5, and that's with TCU being a very public team as well. So the Sharps definitely on Texas Tech here, plus the points. Let's see, they might have a chance to get the outright win at some point. TCU has kind of sort of been teetering on the loss. That's kind of when you know that it's kind of unsustainable for a while. When you start to teeter on a loss like that, you're having to come back. Just like Dave said, they came back. The last 3 games have been comebacks. Really, you can argue versus Kansas as well. They had to come back and win. That was a tight game. You come back versus Oklahoma State in there when they were down 2 touchdowns. Knowing, man, Oklahoma State is never. They still hadn't recovered from that. The Kansas State as well, they came back from down in that one, and West Virginia as well. So they've been teetering on the loss. We'd be surprised if TCU covered that game. I mean, if Texas Tech covered that game. Let's go over here to Oklahoma now. Oklahoma, the Sooners, they're laying 3.5 points at home versus Baylor. I'm not sure I trust Oklahoma here, Dave. Laying 3.5 points. Baylor, they might be the better team in this situation, getting points. What do you think about this one, Dave?
It does look like Oklahoma might be putting things that Aranda is going to need for a bigger job, and that to me is a distraction, and that keeps you away from Baylor at this point. I would be reluctant to back a team. I don't know if it's going to take another job or not, but the offers are going to come and able to match them. And that to me is a distraction that I don't need on a team I want to back. So I'm going to have to lean Oklahoma in this game.
That's a good point there, man. Yeah, I wonder. It's kind of crazy with those college coaches, man. You never know it. They can sign. I wonder what's in those contracts, man. It's like they can sign a contract, and then you never know. They're a few years. They're like, oh no, I want to take more money somewhere. I'm going. It's just that's so tough, man. You sign onto a school or whatever, and then the coach leaves. It's like their first year or something. It's really tough right there, man. So that's kind of cool. I like the loyal guys, like guys like over there in BYU and stuff. They're like, you know what? I'm staying in my school. You can't give me any offers. I get paid well enough here. I'm staying here, man. It's tough for the kids when the guys move all over the place. So that's a good point. Could definitely be in their heads there.
The flip side of it is this is a coach who probably would like to win a national championship, and the likelihood of him doing that at Baylor isn't real good.
That's a good point right there. Yeah, it's probably not happening at Baylor, my guys.
No, they're good. It's a good program, but it's not going to be Alabama.
Right.
And it's not going to be Georgia. And there are maybe a dozen programs in the country that can aspire to be at that level. And Aranda might get one of those jobs.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the Baylor, they might win the Big 12 championship. That might be about as far as it's going to get.
And remember, the Big 12 is about to get weaker because Oklahoma and Texas are heading to the SEC.
Yeah,
so the chances of a Big 12 team winning the title down the road are getting slimmer by the year.
What does that mean? Does that mean that they get some teams like from the Pac-12 or from a different conference or
Oh
what? I
yeah,
never
yeah.
really
They're already bringing in different teams.
Okay.
BYU's heading there. Cincinnati. I mean, it'd be a good league, but it's not going to be the SEC. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to completely rule college football.
Right. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. It is what it is, man. The rich get richer, right? That's exactly what's
Like
happening that
anything
way,
else,
man.
that's business.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just the
that's
way the
business.
world works.
Yeah, exactly, man. No, I'm right. I'm right there with you on that, man. Let's go over here to the streets of Pittsburgh here, man. We do have those situations where you got the favorite here. The Pittsburgh is favored versus the ranked team here versus Syracuse, right, Dave? Syracuse still ranked number 20th, but regardless of that, who cares about rankings, man? You got two teams playing here, Dave. Who's gonna cover, man?
Well, look, Syracuse was. We mentioned this a few weeks ago. They were a phony, unbeaten team. I'm glad they got past NC State because that was a big play for me. They really gave Clemson a great battle and ended up losing. And they didn't have anything in the tank last week against Notre Dame. That was a dead spot for them. They should recover here. Pittsburgh, a lot of talent, but they're not a very well coached team. Okay, Narduzzi is just not getting the job done. And last week, I'm glad it happened. I didn't have a good weekend last weekend, but one game I was correct on was North Carolina. North Carolina they crushed Pittsburgh in the second half of that game. I think it's a problem with this Panthers squad. Syracuse, I think, recovers. And while they're still not a great team, I think Pittsburgh's a team they might be able to handle. So I would look at the orange side here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that, man. And Pittsburgh, so they've only covered two games. They've only covered two games this year. Pittsburgh has. I'm not really impressed with them. Obviously, they're taking the drop off after losing their Pickett over there as well. So we expected somewhat of a drop off. They've lost two straight as well. They do come back to the house here, but I'm with you with this one, Dave. What I like to do is. Especially when you said Syracuse come off the big loss versus Clemson. They didn't have anything in the tank left versus Notre Dame, but at some point they're gonna, after having that terrible game, you're gonna want to bounce back here at some point. And so this should be the bounce back spot in this one. I usually like to go with the favorite versus the ranked team, but this is one where I think Syracuse is getting at least a little tad bit disrespected. I'd be taking the points with them. I think Syracuse wins this game outright, my guys. Let's go a couple more games here, Dave. Let's talk about this Georgia and Tennessee, right? This is the biggest game. How could we not do a show and not talk about Georgia and Tennessee? Obviously, Georgia is the national championship defenders, right? But they're laying 8 points here. Really great defense. But this team, Tennessee, they kind of seems like a team of destiny. I mean, especially where they beat beat Alabama as well. Do you think that they have enough to hang with Georgia here, or does Georgia have enough to hang with Tennessee?
Well, the books are going to be rooting for Georgia.
Okay.
Money's pouring in on Tennessee, both from a ticket and money standpoint. I don't know what to make of the game. Tennessee is really good. Obviously, so is Georgia. I think this could be just as good as the Tennessee-Alabama game was, which was the best game in college football so far this season. And I think this could be round two. So it's just a guess. I'm not playing the game. I'm going to go with Georgia to win and Tennessee to cover. Call it Georgia by a touchdown.
I can see that too. I can see that, man. I'm sure the books would hate that, but I'm sure they got a lot of money on Tennessee money line as well.
The books would absolutely love that result. If Georgia wins straight up, doesn't cover, that'll be a big score for the books. Okay. Because all the Tennessee money line bets would get washed out, and the Georgia spread money bets wouldn't get there. When the favorite wins and doesn't cover in a big game, that's always good for the books.
That's a good point there. That's a good point. Yeah, and the Tennessee, man, they coming off. It was supposed to be somewhat of a close game versus Kentucky. That was kind of them. They're like a bye week, man. They smoked them 44-6 in that one, man. So
the game was competitive early,
right?
And then Tennessee scored a turnover in the with Kentucky in the red zone, and the Wildcats just fell apart. Game over.
Right. Yeah,
Tennessee's got killer instinct. It's a great matchup. I mean, this is a game you got to watch.
Man, the quarterback looked like he on a different level, man. Hooker, not a $2 hooker either, man. You got Hooker is over there ball. And man, guys over there balling, man. So I'm with you. I could see Georgia winning this one by 7. I'll be honest though, I wouldn't be surprised to see them knock off another big dog. I think this could really be Tennessee's year. And usually, like, I mean, and don't get it twisted. Georgia, they've backed up success with success as well. But this could be. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee wins. Let's put it that way.
I'd be mildly surprised because Georgia has just destroyed everything in sight this year, and they're more used to the big. And let's remember, Alabama was at Tennessee. This one's between the hedges.
Right? Yeah. No, that's a good
Great
point.
home field.
It was like, who's Georgia played? Their closest game, so they won by 4 at Missouri on the road, laying 31. They beat up Auburn. Auburn's trade. You know what? I was kind of crazy. I'm looking at Georgia's what's called. I was like, they didn't get Alabama this year. This is definitely their toughest game to date, in my opinion.
Sure. No question about it.
I mean, I just feel like they're not necessarily prepared for this game, whereas Tennessee is played.
That I disagree with you on.
Okay.
Because Georgia's always prepared.
Right. Yeah, they always prepared.
Always. And believe me, they've had this game circled, and Tennessee's got it circled. It's a great matchup.
Right.
The thing is, great matchups are often not great bets.
Exactly. I hate betting these type of games, Dave. I hate betting them, man. But this is definitely the most marquee game. I'm glad we talked about it, man. We know that Georgia, they're always going to be they're going to be ready. You see what I'm saying, for the game, and they're at the house as well. That definitely helps them out. But I feel like if it was flipped, it definitely would be Tennessee winning this game for sure. Like if the Tennessee was at the house, I definitely think it would be on the. I just feel like Georgia, as far as like their strength of schedule, Dave. That's all I was saying. Yeah. As far as I'm not a fan of their strength of schedule whatsoever, and I think they kind of get in the past with not playing Alabama this year.
Of course, if the game is at Tennessee, it'd be around a pick 'em. So
right, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, there's no chance I'm betting the game, so I'm going to watch it.
Right, I'm gonna watch this one too, man. I might sprinkle a little some on Tennessee plus the 8, but I can't say, guys, this is a public dog. Like we're seeing a lot, like over 70% of the tickets on the public dog. It's not necessarily something you want to see, but maybe they just know something. Maybe they see what I'm saying. That it's like somewhat like a team of destiny. They're mowing teams down, my guys. So I'm leaning Tennessee in that one. Now, last game up here, Dave. We got SMU laying 3. Man, you commonly kind of think that Houston's coach is somewhat of a lame duck or whatever, but they played a little bit better, right? They played a little bit better, but
the comeback they had against Memphis,
right,
kind of turned their season, and now they're playing well again. But I'm still not buying them. Okay, the problem is I'm not buying SMU either.
Right.
This conference this year,
trash.
Well, it's I don't think it's trash. I think it's a decent conference, but I think there are a lot of evenly matched teams. The team that's got me most intrigued in the conference is Tulane. I'm not recommending that you bet Tulane this week. They're laying a lot of points on the road, but Willie Fritz is doing a great job with that team, and they might have the best defense in the conference. So,
right.
Tulane could be the sneaky team to win that league.
That's a good point there. That's a good point. Yeah, the Houston's definitely won their past couple games. They still didn't blow out USF as well. I feel like anybody can basically blow them out. So I just don't see killer instinct from this Houston team. From the Houston team now, SMU doesn't have any killer instinct as well. I've seen the quarterback with somewhat erratic play as well. They probably should have beat Cincinnati at the house in that one, but they did show something that they were never going to give up in the game, and they came back and covered that game for everybody that took them on the underdog line there. So, but when you have games like that at UCF and they get absolutely smoked, but like just think about this, Dave. SMU took TCU like to the brink. Like they were there. They were hanging with TCU the whole game. Yeah, I got to give credit for SMU on that one at the house. Well, obviously it was a big game playing against their old coach, but when you line that game up with which how TCU has been smoking teams, that was a pretty good game by SMU. If they play that same way here, they might smoke the Houston Cougars in this one.
Could be. Guys. I don't think it's going to be a lopsided game. I think I would lean SMU though.
No, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, Dave. But just one more. We don't get to some free picks here now, guys. I just want to ask Dave a question. I remember I was talking to you last night. It's Oklahoma State and Kansas. I'm thinking
Yeah.
Oklahoma State. I know Oklahoma State. So I'm watching the game last week, Dave. They got absolutely smoked. But I mean, I didn't bet Oklahoma State. I was just wondering why they were getting smoked by Kansas State. They looks like they had played a ton of plays, like 80 some plays the week before. So it was an absolute no-show game. Why doesn't Oklahoma State bounce back here versus Kansas after getting smoked 48-0? Do you think they can bounce back?
I would lean Kansas in this game. Kansas getting healthier. Oklahoma State's unbeaten season went up in smoke last week. I think it's a tough spot for Oklahoma State, and Kansas should be ready. And Kansas had last week off. So I think the Jayhawks have a good chance to score the win here, and this would get them eligible for a postseason game. They're probably going to get one anyway because I think there's going to be some five-win teams that get to bowls this year. But I think Kansas has a good chance to win this game.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. Yeah, Okie State. So they coming off, they lost versus TCU in overtime, and then they beat Texas, and then they got absolutely smoked last week, 48-0. So
and
just the way I'm looking,
that knocked them out of the major bowl picture.
Right. Yeah, that is a good point there. Yeah, they did get their quality absolutely insulted, though, at no one. So only way I could look is Okie State. But hey, the market agrees with Dave. This one's went from 3.5 all the way to 1.5 now for Kansas. And this one, my guys. So maybe, like I said, he knows a whole lot more than college football than I do. Maybe it could be one of those where the team is kind of sort of giving up on the season, my guys.
Yeah, whether I know more, I'm not betting the game. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, just me watching the game. Nothing went right for Oklahoma State. In general, you want to back a team the next week. After that one, I'm talking about they couldn't even get a freaking first down in that game. Everything went well for Kansas State. Absolute flat spot for Oklahoma State. I guess what Dave was saying could possibly another spot like that here if they kind of feel like they not going to really get to a big stage. But just a matchup wise, I think Oklahoma State could continue to own Kansas. I only looked at the last 10 games. They definitely beat, obviously, a lot worse. It's a lot worse. Yeah, a lot worse Kansas teams. They beat them 10 straight times. So, in theory, Kansas will want to get off the schneid here. But I just feel like OK State can still own them if they want to.
There's good high school teams that might have beaten Kansas 10 straight times. So, I mean, you can throw out the old stuff in Kansas. That's a different program now. Program's definitely on the rise.
Yeah, that's a good point there. That's a good point, man. I'm leaning OK State there. But Dave, let's get to some free picks here, my guy. What you liking? First off, what do you have going over at Wager Talk? We know you do baseball, hockey, college basketball, college football. Let the people know what you got going.
I have a 3-game college football package, all underdogs.
Okay.
And it's $19 to get all 3 games. They're all Saturday games, so you can check those out at wagertalk.com. We'll give you a free play. And that's on the game between Michigan State and Illinois. The number's going up to 17, and it's not like Illinois is an offensive juggernaut. But Michigan State coming out of that disaster last week, not just the loss to Michigan, but what happened after the game. I think you got a team in disarray, and that to me is the team you want to go against. Illinois is having a great season.
Right.
So even though it's a big number and you've got a team that's not noted for being a real powerhouse offensively, I think Illinois is going to crush Michigan State in this game.
Dave, what happened after the game?
Well, they had a big
fight.
A fight in the tunnel with, and the fallout of Michigan State has not been good.
Right.
And
after you just paid the coach all that damn money.
Well, I don't know. I'm not blaming the coach. It was the players that did it.
Right.
But the aftermath was really ugly. And I think Michigan State chemistry could be fractured at this point. And look, beyond that, this was a team that was top 20 rated going into the season, and they're 3-5. So I don't know if the enthusiasm level is real high right now. So I think Illinois is going to nail them here.
Okay, I couldn't talk you off there. Yeah, Michigan State definitely looks like they're in disarray, and if they're fighting amongst themselves, that's definitely not a buy-on situation, my guys. But hey, I got shirts over at the website, man, jmoneyismoney.com, or you can DM me on Twitter. There's $10 off right now until November 15th. You can use promo code WIN10 over at the site. Jay and Shark shirts are only $15, my guys. Smack City, us against the bookies. Let's get some cash as well. We're on the channel giving out free picks every single day, man. The least you can do is show some support. We appreciate Dave for that free pick. Yeah, I didn't bet anything in college football. This show is specifically to show off Dave's talents. Special promo codes. Like I say, got a 3-pack up there, 3 college football games for Saturday, only for $19. You can get all 3 games over at Wager Talk. You can go check out Dave over there. He has baseball, hockey, college football, college basketball, all that good stuff as well, man. So go check him out. What are you gonna say, Dave?
You have to hold your nose with these 3 games. I've got a 1 touchdown dog and 2 really big dogs. So I'm playing some ugly teams this week, but you can cash tickets on ugly teams too.
I'm right there with you. Man. Yeah, what I'm leaning towards this week, man, is definitely Kentucky plus the 1, Texas Tech, Syracuse plus the 4 as well. That would be my top 3. Wouldn't talk you out of Tennessee. Me personally, I mean, the public doesn't really matter and shit, but I just hate being on the public underdog. I can't stand it. I can't stand. So Syracuse, Texas Tech, and Kentucky is what I would be looking at with significance in those, my guys. We appreciate your time. We appreciate everybody tuning in. It's us against the bookies, my guys. We're always trying to get some cash every single day. We will win. Go check us out, wagertalk.com. We back next week, my guys. Let's cash. We're out. Let's fucking go.